Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to this APM exam practice session organized by ACCA Pakistan. This is Lukman Rafiq, and I am the trainer for this paper APM, the Advanced Performance Management. I welcome you all to this APM session, and hopefully inshallah over a period of the next 5 days what we would be doing is we would inshallah be covering a lot of areas pertaining to this examination, and we would be discussing about the examination techniques. We would be looking at the CB practice platform of the ACCA. We would be solving questions on the CB practice platform. So there is a lot to be offered at the end of, there's a lot to be offered during this 5 day session, and I'm hoping that at the end of this 5 day session, you would be in a situation, you would be in a position that you would actually be telling me that we have actually really learned a lot. So to start off, I'm going to start off with a brief introduction about myself, and I'll also going to share you the plan for this specific session for the next 5 days. So the first thing is my own introduction. It's been 13 years plus that I've been teaching, and I serve as a chief executive officer of an ACCA learning provider, the name of which is Scriber Education. Uh, Plus, I have practiced as a taxation corporate consultant and the auditor for a period of 8 years. And what has actually happened is that, this is what I have, this is what my background is for the last many years. I've been teaching the various subjects, and those various subjects include this the advanced performance management, advanced financial management, and there are different type of subjects that I have taught over the period of last many years. So this is what a brief background about myself, and what we will be doing is, inshallah, we would be covering a maximum from the ACCA's perspective, that you are actually prepared for this APM paper. That's what I would try to do. Now, before I proceed, let me actually give you a brief overview about this ACCA syllabus of APM. Um, and I would also want to conduct a bit of a poll, that what exactly is your status? How many of you are actually attempting this paper for the first time? Yeah, how many of you are attempting this paper for the first time? May I know, please? How many of you are attempting the paper for the first time? Yeah, how many of you are attempting this paper for the first time? Okay, basically, good enough, good to see, good to see. Okay, and how many of you have attempted this paper earlier and have not been successful? Yeah, how many of you have attempted this paper earlier and have not been successful? Yeah, Hazim, I've shared with you the group which is going to be used for this specific webinar question and answer session. Okay, now there are students who have attempted this paper earlier. There are students who are attempting this paper for the first time. There is something that I would want to know from those people who have attempted the paper earlier, that what has been the reason for your failure? What has been the reason for your failure? Why have you not been able to pass the paper earlier? Yeah, for those of you who have attempted the paper earlier, I would want to know that what has been the reason which you unfortunately you could not pass the paper earlier. What has been the reason? Okay, I'm getting one of them as a time management. The second one of them is not enough practice. I'm just gonna list down the issues which you people are facing. Okay, so one of the reasons is basically a student mentioned that time management, the other one of them is not enough practice. The third student is basically lack of CBE practice. So that has also been one of the reason. Then what happens is that difficult to know, but one of them is time management. Okay, unfamiliar with CBE. Okay, so these are the different types of reasons that we are coming across. That these are the various reasons that have ultimately led to you being unsuccessful in the examination. Anyways, so who else? Anyone else could share any of the shortcomings that you had with your preparations? Yeah, anything else? Because I want to just know the problems that you have faced in passing this paper. Is there anyone who is unable to understand that what has been the reason for their failure? Is there anyone who is unable to understand that what has been the reason for their failure? Okay, good enough. Now, let me guide you something. Okay, there are few more, which is basically the people are suggesting the exam technique, etc., etc. So there are multiple things. Okay, now I am gonna move forward and I am going to discuss few things. Let me guide you. I have conducted the previous two webinars on APM also by ACCA, and the previous two webinars that I have actually conducted, those webinars are available at different platforms also, and I've tried to cover up the different areas during those webinars. And what I would try to do is that I would try to cover up different examination questions, and also I'll be conducting the questions on the CB practice platform. That is what I will be doing in this session. So hopefully, inshallah, you would have enough practice to be able to be prepared for the examination. Just to have a quick overview, we have got these syllabus areas which include the performance hierarchy, which include the performance management and control of organization, changes in business structure, risk and uncertainty, performance management information system, data analytics, etc., etc., etc. Now, what we would be doing, what we would be covering in this specific webinar is we would be covering this specific area, this specific area, this specific area, and this specific area. So my agenda that I would try to cover up during this specific webinar would be these specific areas which I have identified for you people. I repeat, the areas that I've identified for you people, I will be covering these areas during the webinar session. Now, um, let me let me guide you further. So I think that this is basically okay for you, right? Anyone having any issues up till now? There's a handout section in this. There's a handout section, and under the handout section, what you can find out is there are 5 handouts that I've shared with you people. So what I would want you people to do is that these are the 5 handouts that I have shared with you people. So what I want you people to do is that to download the handouts from that specific handout section in this webinar. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have actually shared the handouts with you people. Okay, there is no link of the handouts. The handouts are actually there in this webinar window. You can download the handouts from the webinar window. So basically, let me basically share. Okay, those people who are unable to join, I repeat, those people who are unable to join may actually message me, and I can help you in joining the group. I can help you in joining the group. So those who are unable to join may actually message me, and I'll help you join. Okay, and I'm also sharing these handouts in the ACCA in this WhatsApp group also, so that you people are able to have access to these handouts. I'm also sharing them in the relevant group so that you people have got access to these handouts. Okay, great. Now let's just start off. Okay, so what we are going to do now is that we are going to start off with the performance management hierarchy. That is the starting point of that is going to be the starting point of our lecture today, that we are going to start off with the performance management hierarchy, because I want you people to know about this performance management hierarchy. I've shared with you people some of the articles, and those articles actually cover up. I repeat, those articles actually cover up. What do they cover up? They cover up the different aspects of the performance measurement, which are going to be discussed right now. So I'll be going through this performance management hierarchy first, and then the next thing is that I'll be going through the examination questions. And in the meantime, if anyone has got any queries, you may actually ask the question, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. So let's start off, I guess. And okay. Okay, let's start off. So we are going to start off with this performance management hierarchy. And before I go on, I always discuss one aspect with respect to APM, that a lot of students, they are unable to understand that what exactly is this paper APM. So if I could tell you that what exactly is this paper APM all about, let me explain to you, let me guide you. I always tell my students that APM, in order to understand APM, you need to think as if you are running your own business. I repeat, whenever you are actually studying APM, you got to think that you are running your own business. What exactly do you mean by this, that we are running our own business? So when you run your own business, you look after every single aspect of the business. What is that every single aspect of the business? Whether that be the finance of the business, whether that be the HR of the business, whether that be the marketing of the business, whether that be the sales of the business, whether that be the production department, whether that be the research and development department, whether that be the information technology, uh, whether that be the whether that be the relationship with the government, that be the relationship with the suppliers, whether that includes your relationship with the customers, almost every single thing you actually look after your own. So I repeat, whenever we are conducting our own business, what we always want to do and what we always try to do is that we make sure that we make sure that we look after every single aspect of the business, whether that be finance, whether that be HR, whether that be marketing, etc., etc., etc. We look after every single aspect of the business. Now, let's try to have an understanding of this. Just like I'm telling you that you look after every single aspect of the business. So for the APM, you need to understand that this APM includes everything that I have mentioned here. I repeat. So what I would tell you is that this APM includes every single thing that I have told you here, which is that if you want to actually uh, study APM, so studying of the APM would mean that you would be looking after, you would be studying finance, you'd be knowing how to handle finance, you'd be knowing how to handle HR, you'd be looking at the handling of the marketing aspects, the sales aspect, production, quality, government, suppliers, customers, every single aspect of the business you'd be looking to control, you'd be looking to manage that aspect of the business. Now, so when we talk about this APM, so I have told you that you have to make sure that you are running your business and every single aspect of the business that we generally consider is covered up in the APM also. Now, so a very important aspect with respect to this APM is called the concept of performance measurement and called the performance management, because a lot of people, they actually get confused with respect to performance measurement and with respect to performance management. So it is also important that when you are studying APM, you understand these aspects, that what a performance measurement is and what a performance management is. Let me guide you with respect to it. When we talk about measurement of the measurement of the performance is actually quantifying performance. The measurement of the performance is actually quantifying performance. And when it comes to management, the management is basically a broader perspective. The management is a broader perspective. The management is a wider terminology. It's a bigger terminology as compared to the performance measurement. So if you have to understand the management, you need to think that the management is just ensuring that the organization, I repeat, management is ensuring that the organization is able to achieve its objective. I repeat, that the organization is able to achieve its objective, that is going to be considered as management. So when we talk about the concept of this performance measurement and performance management, so measurement actually means you quantify the performance. And when we talk about the management is a broader aspect, which is ensuring that the organization is able to achieve its objective. That is what the management concept is. So when we talk about this concept of the performance measurement, or try to understand this thing, that this measurement is part of management. I repeat, try to understand this thing, that measurement is part of management. Now, what do we mean by this? This actually means that the measurement, you measure the things, you measure the performance, you get an idea of the performance. And once you get an idea of the performance, then you try to improve upon that performance. Then you try to ensure that the performance is improved as an overall. So when it comes to the performance measurement, when it comes to the performance management, measurement is a smaller terminology, management is a bigger terminology. Measurement is part and parcel of the management, and management means overall performance of the organization. So what we are studying is, we are studying APM, which is advanced performance management. That means in order to study APM, you need to understand that measurement is going to be something that is going to be a critical part, because measurement would help you manage. Measurement would help you manage. So we would be studying all aspects of measurement, the different ways of measuring the performance, and we would also be discussing the different aspects of the management of the performance. That is something that we would be discussing. Now, In order to understand the APM better, there is a basic concept that you need to understand. And what is that basic concept? That is termed as performance management hierarchy. There's a very important concept which is termed as performance management hierarchy. Now, what exactly do you mean by this performance management hierarchy? Let's try to have an understanding of this. Basically, whenever there is an organization which is incorporated or the organization starts, the starting point of the organization is a vision, and the next aspect of the organization is the mission. So there is a vision, and the next aspect of the organization is the mission. The third aspect is called the objectives. The third aspect is called the objectives. The fourth aspect is called the critical success factor. And then there is this is the fourth aspect that is there. So if I talk about the performance management hierarchy, that means I'm talking about a hierarchy which is going to tell us that how the performance of the organization is going to be managed. So I repeat, I'm talking about how the performance of the organization is going to be managed. So basically, in order to understand the management of the performance, you need to understand that there is this hierarchy which needs to be followed. There's this hierarchy which actually needs to be followed. So if this hierarchy needs to be followed, so what exactly is the starting point of the hierarchy? The number one of them is a vision. What is the vision? The vision actually means the ultimate goal. The vision actually means the ultimate objective for which the organization is basically incorporated. So I repeat, when we talk about the vision actually reflects the ultimate goal. The vision actually reflects the ultimate objective of the organization. So there is the ultimate goal, the ultimate objective for which the organization is incorporated, that is considered to be the vision. So every organization, what it wants to do is that it wants to achieve its vision. I repeat, every organization would want to achieve its vision. And in order to achieve its vision, there is a mission statement. In order to achieve its vision, there is a mission statement. And what is actually covered in the mission statement is that there are three things which are covered in the mission statement. Broadly, the mission statement tells you how we will achieve our vision. I repeat, broadly, the mission statement tells you how we will achieve our vision. But generally speaking, what is included in the mission statement? So mission statement majorly covers up these three aspects. Basically, what we do. The second one of them is for whom we do. So one of them is basically what we do. The second is for whom, and the third one of them is how. So there are three aspects of this specific mission statement, which are generally what we do, for whom, and the third one of them is how. These are the three things that you have to cover when it comes to the mission statement. So the performance management hierarchy starts off with what? It starts off with a vision. Then there is this mission. And then the third one of them is considered to be the objectives. What are these objectives? The objectives is the short-term goals. I repeat, what exactly do you mean by the objectives? The objectives are the short-term goals. The objectives are the medium-term goals. So basically, when we talk about the concept of the objectives would actually mean short-term goals, the medium-term goals from undertaking. I mean, like these are the goals which are going to help you achieve mission, and this mission is going to help you achieve the vision. And there is this another aspect which is called the critical success factors. So what are those critical success factors? Those things which are necessary for an organization to achieve its mission. So those things which an organization must do in order to achieve its mission, that is going to be considered as the critical success factor. So when I talk about the concept of critical success factor, what exactly do you mean by critical success factor? Try to understand that. The concept of the critical success factor is that critical success factors are those things that an organization must do. I repeat, the critical success factors are those things that an organization must do in order to be able to achieve its mission and ultimately its vision. So basically, whenever we talk about any organization, always remember, what do you want to manage? You want to manage the performance. And for you to be able to manage the performance of the organization, there is something that you need to understand. I repeat, for you to be able to manage the performance of the organization, there is something that you need to understand. And what is that something that you need to understand? It is actually that this is the performance management hierarchy. This is the performance management hierarchy which exists, and you need to keep this thing in mind, because ultimately, if the CSF is going to be met, the objectives will be achieved. If the objectives will be achieved, the mission will be achieved. If the mission will be achieved, the vision will be achieved, which is the ultimate goal, which is the ultimate objective for which the organization is incorporated, which is the ultimate goal, the ultimate objective for which the organization is incorporated. That is something that you would have to keep in mind. Now, is that okay to everyone? Is that okay to everyone? Okay, for those students who are asking what questions are going to be covered, let me guide you that what questions are going to be covered would actually be, uh, I am just setting up the tone for myself to go on to the examination questions. I would try to do the examination questions from the latest 4 attempts of ACCA. Why am I trying to do that? The reason being that I want to actually make sure that I practice on the CB practice platform. And for me to be able to practice on the CB platform, I need to make sure that I actually do those questions which have been recently tested. I need to make sure that those questions which are recently tested, because they are available on the CB platform. So stay tuned. We are going to do that. Don't worry about it. Okay, let's just start moving further. So I've discussed about the concept of this critical success factors, and you now know what the critical success factors are. Let's move, let's discuss, let's move a bit forward. Now, basically, when it comes to the performance management, there's a terminology which you all need to understand, which is what gets measured gets done. Now, what exactly do you mean by this terminology of what gets measured gets done? Let me explain to you people the concept of this what gets measured gets done. You see, what actually happens is that this is a very important concept, which is what gets measured gets done. Why? Why? Because the point is that, generally speaking, as I told you, there's a relationship between performance management and there's a relationship between the performance measurement. So when I talk about the measurement, what do you mean by this measurement? Measurement is quantifying the performance. Measurement is quantifying the performance. I repeat, the concept of measurement is we are actually quantifying the performance. Is that okay? We're actually quantifying the performance, that is considered to be the measurement. And what exactly do you mean by the management? The management is basically acting upon that performance. The management is actually acting upon that performance. Now try to understand. When we talk about the management is trying to make sure, I repeat, when I talk about the management, it's trying to make sure the corrective actions are taken. It's trying to make sure that the improvements are brought about. That is what you try to do. I repeat, that is what you try to do. When it comes to management, management is improvements are brought about. The management is improvements are brought about. Now, let's try to understand this. Basically, when you measure something, I repeat, when you measure something, ultimately those aspects come to the light. I repeat, when you measure something, those aspects come to the light. And when those aspects come to the light, what actually happens is that that obviously the employees, they actually want to improve upon those areas. The employees, they want to improve upon those aspects of the performance. So I repeat, when it comes to the measurement, whatever that you measure, the employees would make sure that they get those things done. Whatever that you would measure, the employees would make sure that they get those things done. So the concept is what gets measured gets done. Whatever you are measuring, whatever you are quantifying, those aspects of the performance would be done. Those aspects of the performance would be done by the employees. You need to make sure that this thing happens. Now, try to understand something. Basically, it's very important that when we have got these critical success factors, we measure the achievement of these critical success factors. I repeat, whenever we have got these critical success factors, we need to make sure that we measure the achievement of these critical success factors. Now, what do you mean by this? So in order to measure the achievement of these critical success factors, there are few KPIs that are introduced. There are those KPIs, the key performance indicators. I repeat, the key performance indicators that are actually introduced. So what exactly do you mean by this? It's called KPIs. So try to understand this thing, that when you are measuring the performance, I repeat, when you are measuring the performance, so you got to make sure that the critical success factors are those things that the organization has to do. And if the critical success factors are those things that the organization has to do, so you need to measure the achievement of those CSF. You need to measure the achievement of those CSF. And the achievement of those CSF would actually be achieved by, the achievement would be basically measured by the KPIs, the key performance indicators. And the key performance indicators are going to be what? I repeat, the key performance indicators are something that you would have to introduce in order to measure the performance of the organization. So basically, a very important aspect of the performance measurement is that in addition to the CSF, you need to understand the concept of KPIs also. So now, the concept that we need to understand is that what exactly are these KPIs? The concept that we need to understand is what exactly are these KPIs? So when I talk about the KPIs, there are actually two types of KPI. What are those two types of KPI? Try to understand. The KPIs could be financial. The KPIs could be non-financial. I repeat, when we talk about the performance indicators could be the financial performance indicators, and the performance indicators could be non-financial performance indicators. What are these financial performance indicators? What are these non-financial performance indicators? Try to understand that. Okay, now let's talk about the concept of this financial and the non-financial performance indicator. I told you people that when you have to measure the performance of the organization, you can measure them using the financial performance indicators, and you can measure them using non-financial performance indicators. When we talk about these financial performance indicators, what exactly is the concept of the financial performance indicator? The concept of financial performance indicators is that I repeat, the concept of financial performance indicator is you use an entity's financial statements. I repeat, what you do is that you use the entity's financial statements to measure the performance. I repeat, what you do is that you use the entity's financial statement to measure the performance. Now, what do we mean by this? This would actually mean that all those ratios which can be calculated using a financial statement. Now, what do we mean by this? That means whether you talk about the profitability ratios, you talk about the liquidity ratios, you talk about the gearing ratios, you talk about the efficiency ratios, all of these ratios are considered to be financial performance indicators. So what you do is that you try to see how well the organization has performed from the perspective of the financial aspects. That's one thing. Now what next is there? The second aspect is the non-financial aspect. I repeat, the second aspect is the non-financial aspect. And when we talk about the non-financial aspect, this would actually mean that every single thing which is not covered in financial statement. I repeat, when we talk about the non-financial aspect, this would mean every single thing which is not covered in the financial statements. What do you mean by this? This would actually mean that the customer satisfaction, this would actually mean the quality of the goods, this would actually mean the brand image, etc., etc., etc. So those aspects of the performance which matter, but which are not covered in the financial statement, they're going to be considered as non-financial aspects. So they're going to be considered as non-financial aspects. So these aspects are going to be considered as non-financial aspects. Do you understand now? Okay. I'm going to just look at the various questions that have been asked. The questions that have been asked are what? Yeah, they can also be considered as pyramid. I repeat, they can also be considered as a pyramid. Okay, those of you who haven't been able to join the WhatsApp group may actually send across a message to me. Uh, the contact details have actually been shared with you people. Okay, good enough. So basically what happens is we are talking about the performance measurement hierarchy, and with respect to the performance measurement hierarchy, we have understood this concept that this could actually be the financial, there could actually be the non-financial aspects. These are the various things that you actually have to cover up when it comes to the performance measurement hierarchy. Now, let's move a bit forward. Let's discuss further. Let's talk about the other aspects of this performance management. So basically, in order to measure the performance of the organization over a period of time, different models have been introduced. Over a period of time, different approaches have been adopted. So those different models, so those different approaches that have been adopted, amongst them includes one of the approaches which is called the balanced scorecard. Amongst them, one of them is called the balanced scorecard. Now, what exactly do you mean by balanced scorecard? So from the perspective of the balanced scorecard, what we do is that we measure the organization's performance from the four different aspects. What are those four different aspects? If I could just tell you those four different aspects, those four different aspects include what? Those four different aspects include um, number one of them is the financial perspective. The second one of them is the customer perspective. The third one of them is considered to be the learning and growth perspective. And the fourth one of them is the internal business perspective. The internal business perspective. Now, what exactly do you mean by this? Let's try to have a discussion on them. So, as I told you, that you got to measure the organization's performance using the financial, using the non-financial performance indicator. And when we talk about measuring them using financial and non-financial performance indicators, so the financial perspective could be what? The financial perspective could actually be meaning that how do we appear as an organization to our shareholders? How an organization appears to its shareholders. That is something which is considered to be the financial perspective. I repeat, that is something that is considered to be the financial perspective. The second is that the customers, how do the organization's customers see them? I repeat, how do the organization's customers see them? The third one of them is the learning of the employees, the growth of the organization as a whole, that what have been your achievements with respect to the employee learning, what have been your achievements with respect to the organizational growth. Then there is this internal business perspective. And what exactly do you mean by the internal business perspective? It's actually the things we must excel at. So basically, when we talk about the measurement of the performance, as I told you, that one of the aspect is that you need to use the models, and amongst the models, the most famous model is the balanced scorecard. The balanced scorecard perspective tells you that you need to measure the performance from the perspective of four perspectives: financial, customer, learning and growth, and internal business perspective. Now, what do we mean by this? This would actually means that you need to see how well the organization has performed for the shareholders. So what we do is that we introduce the different types of financial performance measures. And those different types of financial performance measures would include what? like like you could say return on capital employed, you could say the GP margin, you could say NP margin, you could say the economic value added, etc. These are the different types of performance measures that you could introduce if you wish to measure the performance from the financial perspective of the balanced scorecard. Next is the customer perspective. You could introduce a lot of things like the customer satisfaction ratio. You could say the customer retention ratio. You could say that the complaints. You could say the sales growth, etc., etc., etc. There could be different types of things that you could talk about. Then there's this learning and growth. What do you mean by the learning and growth? It's the organizational learning, the employee training. How much as an organization have you invested in the employee training? The learning and growth could be when we talk about, I mean, as I told you that we talked about the employee training, we talk about the organizational growth, number of new products, etc., etc. These could be considered as what? These could be considered as the organizational growth. Then is there internal business perspective, which is the things you must excel at. For every organization, the internal business perspective could be different. For some, the speed of doing work. For some, the flexibility. For some, innovation. For some, cost reduction, etc. There could be a lot of things. If I talk from the perspective of education industry, uh, with ever since COVID has come in, So all those who never accepted the online education as a good medium have also ended up accepting the online education, whether that be the students, whether that be the tutors. Everybody has accepted it. Why? So let me answer you the question why. Because everyone knows that's the only solution. But considering this to be the only solution, the problem that has arisen is those established institutions, those established organizations which relied upon physical campuses, those established institutions which were having a monopoly situation have now come to a situation where the new entrants are coming in every day. Why? Because every tutor who can teach is now an institute, is now a college. They've given a very tough time to all those colleges which used to enjoy a monopolistic situation. So what do those colleges have to do? So ideally speaking, the first thing is to hire those teachers. The second thing is that the financial arrangements are required to be changed. The third thing is that the additional services are required to be provided, including mocks, including notes, including revision lectures, including a lot of things. So what is it? That's an internal business perspective, the things that you must do in order to excel. So basically, when we talk about the performance measurement, it's important that you understand that amongst the different models, one of the most successfully introduced model was the balanced scorecard approach, which tells you a balanced way of measuring the organization's performance. So is everyone okay till now? Yeah, any questions? And don't worry about it. I'm just gonna start. I will start off with a question in a while. Just let me set the tone, please. Don't worry about it. I'll start off. Just let me set the tone. Yeah, the internal business perspective itself is a critical success factor. The internal business perspective itself can be considered to be a critical success factor. Stop कर दे और फिर दोबारा recording दबा देना उसकी भी. Okay, there are a few more questions. Okay, so basically, what is it? It's actually there are few students asking different types of questions. Let me answer each one of you. Um, okay, can you explain TSR, Mohammed Qayyum? Just wait a bit. I'm going to explain. Just wait a bit. Can internal? Okay, please explain customer again. Okay, Christine. When it comes to the concept of customer, the concept of customer is that we say that how do our customers see us? I repeat, what we do is that we say how do our customers see us? Like, do our customers happy with us? Are they satisfied with our performance? Are they happy with us? That is what the customer perspective is. Okay, there is another question. Okay, for internal business perspective, what is the KPI? It depends upon organization to organization. Like, for example, yeah, I mean, it could be the percentage of a skilled tutor. It could be, it could be the number of services provided or number of additional services provided. Okay, John. Yeah, it also pertains to the business processes for manufacturing organizations usually. Yeah, Arun Kumar, it's actually very much dynamic in nature. Okay, now Munibur Rahman, no, perspective, internal business perspective is not necessarily considered to be a financial aspect. No. Okay, Zohair Hassan, just wait a bit. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm being asked by a student that can you explain these different types of perspective with the examples. Okay, let me tell you something. That if I have to explain to you with examples, let's try to understand them. That basically, um, for example, let's take an airline industry. Let's take an airline. Let's take an airline. And what we would do is that we would say that what could be the different types of perspective, what could be the different types of financial performance indicators, non-financial indicators for the airline. Let's try to understand. The number one of them is basically, it says financial perspective. It says financial perspective. The number one of them is the financial perspective. When we talk about the financial perspective, what do you mean by this? You could say the return on capital employed. You could say the share price. You could say the earning per share. There was a student who was asking what's the total shareholder return. I'll explain to you in a bit, but I'm just mentioning it over here so that you do understand that this is one of the perspectives. Now, if I think from the perspective of this airline, let's talk about the customer perspective. That what is it that is going to suggest that the customers are happy? So the customer satisfaction rating. You could say percentage of repeat customers. You could say that sales growth. That's also an indicator that your customers are happy. Because if your existing customers are not going to be happy, then you cannot grow as an organization. Third, there's this learning and growth perspective. So when you talk about the learning and growth perspective, you could say that number of new routes introduced. You could say the number of new offices set up. Time spent in employee training. Percentage reduction in the percentage reduction in accidents over time. So there could be minor accidents also. It's not necessarily that there is a major accident. You can have a major accident also as an airline, but there could be minor accidents also. So to what extent have you been able to reduce the minor accidents? The next aspect of it is, which is the internal business perspective, which a lot of you people were actually wondering. So let me tell you, for the airline to be successful, the first one of them is the percentage of on-time flights. Percentage of on-time flights, that's one of the aspects. The number of flights, or you could say proportion of flight cancellations. Because I think that from the perspective of airline industry, it's a very important aspect that the flight should not get delayed. It's a very important aspect that the flight should not get cancelled. These are few important aspects. You get it? I repeat, do you get it? Now, for all those who are asking that to explain with an example, you can now see that what are the different examples for this balance scorecard. Okay, Hazem, with respect to advantage and disadvantage, just wait a bit. I'm gearing up for the exam question. I'm not going into complete detail of balance scorecard. I'm just trying to gear up for the examination question. Yeah, number of flights sold, tickets sold. Okay. Okay, Mohammed Qayyum, reduction in number of complaints. Yes. Can sales growth to be taken as financial perspective? Yes, it could be taken, but it's more to do with the customer satisfaction. Okay, there is this student Sagara Jaisinghe who has requested me that can you just do the same for the hotel? Can you just do the same for the hotel? Okay, let me give you a bit one. I mean, like I won't do much. I would just do simply uh, one one measure each for the hotel. For the hotel, I would go for the profit margin. I would go for again economic value added could be one of the good measures. Um, I am not going for return on capital employed because generally, with respect to the hotel industry, they usually don't own the hotels. I repeat, they don't usually own the hotels, so I'm not going for EVA. So that's one thing. Now, the repeat customers and the hotel rating, number of new services launched, different packages. The fourth one of them is with respect to the internal business perspective. So internal business perspective is that um, what is it that an hotel must do? Comfort level or the comfort rating or the stay pleasure. These are the things. I mean, but again, that would depend upon whether you're talking about a luxurious hotel or whether you're talking about a budget hotel. It would depend upon that also. But in general, I can tell you that this is something that you would have to do. Yeah, better packages to the customers. Yeah, NPV could be considered as a financial indicator. Yes. Yeah, NPV could be considered as financial indicator. Yeah, number of awards won, etc., etc. There could be a lot of things. I repeat, there could be a lot of things. Okay, good enough. So we are done with this basically balance scorecard general idea, balance scorecard general application. We are done with it now. So I'm going to move a bit forward with the next aspect. Okay, let's move a bit forward and let's discuss further. Any further questions pertaining to balance scorecard you may ask, or else I'll move forward. Yeah, any further question? Can you share handout in WhatsApp groups? Unable to download. Okay, yes, we will do. I'll do it. Don't worry. Yes, there are many suggestions, better packages, etc., etc., etc. Okay, I'll just move on. Okay, let's move a bit forward and let's discuss further. Okay, so the next aspect, the next thing that we need to understand is basically the concept of, I repeat, the next aspect that we need to understand is the concept of this additional model which is used, and that model is considered to be building block model. That model is considered to be building block model. So let's start discussing about this building block model. So when I talk about the concept of building block, what exactly is this building block model. I have actually shared I've actually shared a handout with you people also, and that handout also covers up the building block model. Let me demonstrate that to you people. Okay. Okay, this handout covers these things. Okay, this is something that you can use later on. So, I mean, this is something that you can use later on. I've shared with you this is specific handout also. Now, let's just try to understand. For those of you who haven't actually got the handout, let me share them with you in the relevant WhatsApp group. Okay, so I'm going to start discussing about this building block model, and I'll tell you what exactly is this building block model all about. Let's try and understand. Basically, this is another one of those models which has been introduced for the with the objective, with the intention to measure the performance of an organization in a balanced manner, because we do understand that measurement of the performance, I repeat, we do understand that the measurement of the performance would require you to measure both the financial and the non-financial aspect. So this is another one of the model from a series of models that actually tells us that how exactly do we measure the financial and the non-financial performance. See, try to understand. Basically, this building block model tells you that you got to measure the performance of the organization from these 6 perspectives, which is mentioned in the dimension block. Then there are these standards block, then there are is measures block. These measures are also termed as rewards. I repeat, these measures are also termed as rewards. Now let's try to understand what exactly are these dimensions. How do we measure the performance using dimension block, etc., etc. So when you talk about these different aspects, I'll explain to you these dimensions, that what these dimensions are. So when we talk about these dimensions, the number one of them is called competitiveness. What exactly do you mean by competitiveness? Try to understand. When you talk about the competitiveness, you are talking about an organization's market position. I repeat, when you are talking about competitiveness, you're actually talking about an organization's market position. That what exactly is the position in the market? What is our market share? What is our market position? How is our competitive position? So the first one of them is, which is actually the competitiveness. The concept of competitiveness is it's actually market position. The second one of them is the financial performance. When we talk about the concept of financial performance, you know the thing that the financial performance is, you're talking about how the organization has performed for the shareholders. The third one of them is the quality of service. The third one of them is the quality of service. And when it comes to the quality, there is no single definition for the quality. A quality means that the satisfaction of customers, quality means better than competitor. That is all considered to be quality. So there is no single definition. It could be better than competitor. It could be satisfying the customer needs. All of this is gonna be considered as a quality. Then there is this flexibility. The flexibility means adaptability to change. The flexibility would actually mean adaptability to change. Then you've got resource utilization. What exactly do you mean by this resource utilization? So again, how efficiently, how well have you utilized the resources? That's what it is, which is generally speaking the comparison of input output. And lastly, the innovation. There are two aspects to innovation. Whenever you have to understand innovation, always try to understand that there are two aspects to innovation. What are those two aspects to innovation? One of them is innovation actually means that you do something new, or you do the existing work in a new manner. All of those tutors who used to teach on the whiteboards are now teaching on the tablets. That's innovation. That's innovation. So what happens is that ACCA was at the risk of conducting the examination. What did ACCA do? They simply introduced remote examination. That's an innovation. Although SEMA was the leader in doing it, but again, it's an innovation. Again, it's something new. So it's an innovation. It's new for the public. It's new for the market. You understand that? So when we talk about the concept of this building block model, it tells you that we would tell you that how to measure the performance, and to measure the performance you need to make sure that you follow these 6 dimensions, which is competitiveness, financial performance, quality of service, flexibility, resource utilization, and innovation. These are the 6 things that you have to focus upon. Now, if I could tell you the various types of performance measures which would be introduced with respect to these different things, so try to understand. The competitiveness could be measured using market share. The competitiveness could be measured using revenue growth. The competitiveness could be measured using market share, revenue growth, or even the brand image. If you do a survey with respect to the brand image of your organization, you can measure the competitiveness using that also. When we talk about the financial performance, it could be done using all of these aspects, which includes ROC, ROI, the EVA, EPS, share price, etc., etc., etc. This is something very easy for you all to do. Then there is another aspect. Then there is another aspect. What is that aspect? That aspect is basically there is another aspect. What is that? The quality of service. So the quality of service could be again, you could say warranty claims. I repeat, what can you say? You can say warranty claims, sale returns, the complaints. All of this could be an indicator of the poor quality. So how well an organization has performed. You can do these things, which is warranty claims, etc., etc. Then there is this another aspect, which is what you can do is that you can say that flexibility. I told you people that flexibility is adaptability to change. Flexibility is adaptability to change. There could be many things. Like you could measure the number of customizations, the different variants of products or services. That could also be the case. Then there is this resource utilization. When we talk about the resource utilization, what could be? It could be the input output ratio. I repeat, it could be the input output ratio. Your resource utilization could be Your resource utilization could be, let's say, the staff per customer, anything, or the customers handled by staff. I'm sorry, the ratio is wrong. The customers per staff member. And lastly, we have got another thing, which is innovation. That could be the number of new products launched, number of different services offered. That is all gonna be considered as innovation. So when it comes to the building block model, one of the blocks of the building block model is the dimensions block, which tells us the dimensions, which tells us the aspect against which the performance of the organization is to be measured. What next is there? There are these other aspects also, which is the standards block and which is this measures block. So what does the building block model says with respect to the standard block? Let me copy it. Let me tell you further about it. So if you apply this building block model, what does it tell us? It says that when you will be measuring the performance, you'll be introducing the KPIs, or you'll be introducing the performance indicators. So when you are introducing the performance indicators, you got to make sure that you follow these standards. I repeat, you got to make sure that you follow these standards. What are these standards? These are the standards of ownership. What do you mean by this? Wait a bit, please. Okay, these are the standards of ownership. Ownership means those people whose performance is being measured, they should know. I repeat, those people whose performance is being measured, they should agree. They should agree that, okay, you measure my performance using XYZ. Like, for example, if I've got, I repeat, for example, if I've got my sales manager, for example, if I say I've got my sales manager, and with respect to that sales manager, I tell you people that I tell my sales manager that I'll measure your performance with respect to the number of new customers. If my manager agrees, okay, okay, you can do it, then that means this is what? This is considered to be, this is considered to be ownership. This is considered to be ownership. Next, achievability. The targets that you set should be realistic. And lastly, fairness actually means equity. That when you set the target, just make sure that you set them in an equitable manner. I repeat, just make sure that you set them in an equitable manner. That is what you have to do. So basically, what happens is that the performance is to be measured using these 6 dimensions. And while measuring the performance, you got to make sure that you comply with these standards of ownership, achievability, and equity. Now, let's move a bit forward. Let's discuss a bit further. The last aspect is about the rewards block. And I'm telling you, the rewards block actually is that this building block model says that the performance should be rewarded, and the rewards should be and the reward should be having clarity. What do you mean by clarity? Clarity means they should be clearly defined. I repeat, clarity means they should be clearly defined. You should have clearly defined them. Next, motivating. What do you mean by this? This would means they should be encouraging. They should be encouraging. And the third one of them is controllability. That would actually means that the performance should be within the control of the staff whose performance is being evaluated. I repeat, the performance should be within the control of the staff whose performance is being evaluated. Do you get it? So the concept is that, I repeat, the concept is that when it comes to the implementation of the building block model, you got to make sure that what you do is that you are measuring the performance against 6 dimension, and then you are ensuring that the performance measures fulfill the standards, and the rewards are being provided which are clearly defined, are motivating, and are based upon controllable factors. Like the sales manager can control sales, but he cannot control profit. If you tell him your performance would be judged on the basis of profit, this is wrong. So what we have done is we have gone through the building block model. We have recalled the building block model. Okay, now let me know if you have got any issues. Now, if anyone has got any issues, just let me know. Okay, there is a question that how do we know that which model to be used? Okay, the examiner would tell you, don't worry. Okay, there is a question, can you explain input output analysis? Okay, just wait a bit. Let me explain to you in a while. The input output analysis. Like for example, normally you take 100 hours to produce 500 units. Normally what happens is if you take 100 hours to produce 500 units, and if you now take 90 hours to produce this 500 units, so this is better resource utilization, right? If there is this idle time, that idle time is again showing that you're not utilizing resources properly. Okay, Zuhair Hassan, flexibility is adaptability to change. Innovation is introducing new product, and with respect to the other models, usually the flexibility and innovation are the same. But with respect to building block model, when it comes to flexibility, you would rather more talk about the speed of change. With respect to the flexibility, you would talk about the um, speed of service, the improvement in the service. That is what the flexibility is going to be. Customizations also. At times, what happens is that the customizations, like for example, the customer asks you for something, and if you deliver that something to the customer, that is considered to be customization. I repeat, that is considered to be customization. Okay. That customization is actually flexibility. I repeat, that customization is actually flexibility. Okay, Rebecca, are you done with this input-output analysis? Yeah, Rebecca, are you okay with the input-output analysis? Okay, now next, what else is there? There's this. Okay, apparently everyone is okay with this building block model also, right? I'm gonna move forward now. No. Okay, we'll do this performance pyramid first, and then once we are done with the performance pyramid, we would take a short break, and once we come back from the break, we would start discussing an examination question on the performance pyramid. Just wait a bit. The next topic that I will be discussing is called the performance pyramid. Now, what exactly is this performance pyramid? Performance pyramid is also one of the performance pyramid is also one of the models which is used for the performance measurement within the organization. What happens under this model is that you measure again the organization's performance from the financial and the non-financial aspects, and it is also one of those models which is used very widely, especially in the manufacturing organization. Now, what exactly is there in this performance pyramid? So let's have a quick discussion about it. You have in front of you this diagram, which is actually giving you an idea about a pyramid. Now, this pyramid is the performance pyramid. This pyramid is the performance pyramid. And what actually happens is that if I could just tell you the things which are mentioned here, at the top of the pyramid, you could see the vision of the organization. And we already know that the vision of the organization is ultimate objective. And we already know that the vision of the organization is its ultimate objective, its ultimate goal. That's the that's the vision of the organization. The next is you have got these three layers. So you would know that generally speaking, when we talk about any organization, we do know that there are generally three different levels within the organization. And what are those three different levels within the organization? There is this operational level, then there is this tactical level, and then there is this strategic level. So I repeat, when we talk about any organization, these are generally the three different levels that of management existing in any organization, which is strategic, tactical, and the operational. Now, let's try to understand this. Basically, what happens is that when we talk about the strategic level management, they think about organizations' long-term goals. They think about organizations' long-term objectives. That's what the strategic level management does. When we talk about the tactical level organizations management, the tactical level usually thinks about medium term. They think about medium term. And when we have got the operational level management thinks about a very short term aspect of the organization. They think about short term aspect of the organization. So this performance pyramid is actually constructed in this specific manner. What do you mean by this is constructed in this specific manner? This actually means that you see, this is considered to be. This is considered to be the operational level of the organization. This is considered to be the tactical level goals, and these are considered to be the strategic level goals. So if I could just explain to you that what exactly do these terminologies mean, because once I'm able to explain to you these terminologies, it will become easy for you people to implement them. Let me try to explain these terminologies to you so that it becomes easy for you people to implement it. Now see, what happens is that the number one of them is considered to be quality. We have discussed different models also, and we know that what quality means. So the quality actually means that you're meeting, you're satisfying the customers. The quality in detail, we could actually say that when you've got complaints, when you've got warranty claims, that is considered to be poor quality. When you've got complaints, when you've got warranty claims, that is generally considered to be poor quality. When we talk about the delivery, so the delivery means the delivery of goods, the commitment to deliver the goods on time, the commitment to provide the services on time. So that's basically the time for goods and services, that is considered to be the concept of delivery. The third one of them is called cycle time. Cycle time is basically time taken to complete a process. I repeat, time taken to complete a process is considered to be cycle time. So the time that it takes to complete a specific process, that could be any process, whether that be a machine setup, whether that be the product packaging, whether that could be one single production run, it could be anything. So the time taken to complete a process is going to be considered as a cycle time. Then wastage. So wastage is wasting resources. What do you mean by wasting resources? So like idle time is a waste of resources. You have got material loss, that's a waste of resources. That is all considered to be waste of resources. So when it comes to implementation of performance pyramid, one of them is basically quality, delivery, cycle time, waste. How do we apply them? Just wait a bit. Try to understand these concepts, just wait a bit. What is quality? Quality is that you're getting complaints. Quality is that you're getting warranty claims. That is poor quality. Delivery, timely delivery of what? Of goods. Timely delivery of what? Of services. Timely delivery of what? Whatever that you have committed. Cycle time. It's a time taken to do a process. Wastage is waste of resources, whether that be material, whether that be labor, whether that be machine capacity, that's called wastages. Then you've got customer satisfaction. So the name suggests customers are happy. The name suggests the customers are happy with you. You've got flexibility. We have already studied the flexibility is adaptability. And let me tell you that we did discuss the concept of innovation in building block model. So when you talk about the concept of innovation in building block model, I repeat, when you talk about the concept of innovation in building block model, generally speaking, what happens is that in this performance pyramid, this flexibility also means innovation. There was somebody who did mention to me that the flexibility and innovation seems to be the same. Yes, they are same in the performance pyramid because there is no segregation done by the model itself. Then you've got productivity. The productivity is how well you have utilized your resources. How well you have utilized your resources. How efficiently have you utilized your resources. Then you've got a market related goal. You've got the financial objective. When we talk about the market related objective, the market goals would actually means your market share. The market goals would actually mean your market position. When we talk about the financial goal, it actually means shareholders. Now, what does performance pyramid says? Performance pyramid says that, look, if you as an organization continue to give quality goods, start delivering them on time. What does performance pyramid says? It says if you as an organization continue to deliver quality goods and on time, the customers would be satisfied. The customers would get satisfied. And if the customers would get satisfied, you'll be able to achieve your market related goal. If the customers get satisfied, you'll be able to achieve your market related goal, market related objective. And what is that? We want to be market leader. We want to be on the top. So what happens is you provide quality goods and services, deliver them on time, the customers would be satisfied. If the customers would be satisfied, what would happen is that they would actually buy more, your revenues will grow, you'll be able to achieve your market objective. Then there is this cycle time. The process, the time taken to complete a process is called cycle time. I repeat, the time taken to complete a process is called cycle time. There is this wastage. You reduce your cycle time, you eliminate the waste. I repeat, you reduce cycle time, you eliminate the waste. Ultimately, the productivity would be enhanced. The productivity would be enhanced. And if the productivity would be enhanced, then your financial related goal would be achieved. If the productivity would be enhanced, your financial goal would be achieved. And what is your financial goal? To give more value to the shareholders. You get it? So the performance pyramid says if an organization starts working at this level, which is the operational level, then automatically the tactical level goals are achieved. And once these are achieved, the strategic level goals are achieved. And once you are able to achieve these goals, then you are able to achieve your vision. Once you are able to achieve these goals, you are able to achieve your vision. Now, so how do we implement performance pyramid in the organization? So in order to implement performance pyramid, you introduce performance measure at this level, this level, this level, this level, this level, this level, this level. You introduce performance measure at each one of them. You keep measuring each one of them because we know what gets measured gets done. I repeat, because we know what gets measured gets done. So now try to understand this. I'll discuss the different type of performance measures for each one of these so that you get a good idea. I'll talk about quality. We can say quality cost. We can say quality cost. We could say complaints. We could say warranty claims. All of them are an indicator of quality. You got to make sure you reduce quality cost. You got to make sure you reduce complaints. You got to make sure warranty claims reduce. Delivery, late deliveries, wrong deliveries, the damaged deliveries. You order food, it comes in late, you don't enjoy food. You order some perishable type of things, they come in and they are like a bit damaged, like maybe you would have ordered some fruits like bananas or etc. They are being damaged, you won't enjoy having them. You talk about the cycle time, time to produce a product, time to market. That's a process. You launch a new product, the time taken to market it, that's a cycle time. The time taken to market it, that's a cycle time. So quality, delivery, cycle time, wastage. What exactly do you mean by waste? The waste is wasting of resources. I repeat, when it comes to waste, it's wasting of resources. I told you idle time. I told you idle time. There could actually be the abnormal loss. That all could be considered as wastage. So what you would do is that you would try to reduce, you try to improve quality, you try to make sure deliveries are on time, you try to make sure that the cycle time of the process is reduced, you try to make sure wastage is eliminated. That's what you would try to do. Now, if I talk about the customer satisfaction, there is a whole list that you can introduce, because you people have studied balance scorecard, because you people have studied building block model. You know this, that you could say customer retention, you could say customer satisfaction score, etc., 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 etc. Then flexibility. So that's new products. That's basically improved products. That all could be a reflection of flexibility. The improved products, the new products, that all could be a reflection of flexibility. Productivity. This could actually be efficiency ratios, the input output comparison. All of this is there. And the last one of them is basically the market goal, which is market share, revenue growth, and lastly, there is this financial aspects, which could actually be profitability, which could actually be EPS, EVA, etc., 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 etc. So I repeat, what gets measured gets done. I'm repeating it again. What gets measured gets done. If you will make sure, I repeat, if you'll make sure that you measure all of these things are gonna get done. And you as an organization would be able to achieve your vision. As an organization would be able to achieve your vision. So basically, we have concluded, we have reviewed the concept of performance pyramid. Yeah, okay. Now, um, if you have got any questions now, let me know. Let me know any questions on this. I'm just assuming that this is something that you would have actually got a very good idea of now. Okay, I can go back to the other slide. I can zoom it out also for you. Don't worry. Are you able to see the whole? Yeah, I'll share these slides, Mohammed Qayyum. Don't worry about it. Okay, anyone else having any other questions, please let me know. Because my next step is going to be, I'll be moving on to the exam questions. I repeat, my next step is going to be, I'll be moving on to the exam question. Yes, I'll give you a break, Mohammed Qayyum now. Christian, yeah, generally it's a measure, right? It's a performance indicator. So maybe like brand image, you can't measure it. But again, you got to quantify it some way or the other. I bet you got to quantify it some way or the other. Okay, the time right now is 10:22 p.m. I bet the time right now is 10:22 p.m. What I will do is that we've got the break till 10:35 p.m. We've got the break till 10:35 p.m. We're gonna resume at 10:35. Up till then, in case if you have got any of the questions, just put them across. I'll answer them in 10 minutes time. In the meantime, I would expect that all of you have already joined the relevant WhatsApp group. In case if anyone hasn't been able to, just let me know. Okay. Um, in the meantime, when we went for the break, I have actually gotten few of the questions which I would want to answer. In case if anyone has got any questions, yeah, in case if anyone has got any questions, please let me know. Yeah, because I'm now going to move on to the examination question. So in case no questions, okay, Mahila Sandita, we're asking for any benchmark question suggestions. Don't worry about this. Just let us get over with these. We will inshallah do it. Don't worry. I'll give you the benchmark question list. You don't have to worry about it, please. Don't worry. Okay, you can see that what I have actually in front of me is APM December 2018 past examination paper. Yeah, what you can see is that I've got in front of me APM December 2018 past examination paper. I have shared this question with you people also. I repeat, I've shared this question with you people also. The name of this specific question is what? The name of this question is Zones Company. The name of this question is Zones Company. Okay, so this is a CBE platform in front of you, and I'm sure you people have an idea that where to access this CBE platform. All that you have to do is that you have to simply, I repeat, all that you have to do is that you have to simply go on to the ACCA's website. You got to log into your portals, and you will be able to get access to this CBE platform. So now let's start. It says that following exhibits, I mean, this is a typical examination paper, and this is the typical format for the computer-based examination. There must be few students amongst you who would be giving paper-based exams, so you don't have to worry about it. You can attempt paper-based, but I'm just giving you an idea that how the computer-based examination are attempted. So you've got this button of symbol. In case if you wish to add up any symbols of the currencies, you can add them. There's this highlighting, with whatever thing you select, you click the highlight button, it gets highlighted. And what actually happens is that there's this different colors which you can use. You're like that, I want this default highlighter. Okay, whatever thing you will select, this is going to be a default highlighter. I'll revert back to yellow because I like that color. Then there's a calculator, there's a scratch pad for your rough workings in case if you wish to do any rough workings, this is what it is. So what does it say? It says the following exhibits available on the right hand side of the screen. Well, they're not available on the right hand side. They're available on the left hand side of the screen. They've probably made an error on this. Anyways, provide information relevant to the question. Company information, the background for the company Zones. So there's a company called Zones. There's a background for it. Business model. Details of the collection and delivery service provided, model operated by Zones. Performance improvement proposals, about 2 proposals. Use of link and cross performance pyramid, and 3 new measures to improve operational performance. And then the use of DMAIC. The DMAIC is the Six Sigma approach, which is define, measure, analyze, improve, control. That's what it is. To introduce Six Sigma and the 2 new measures to improve delivery performance. It says Appendix 1 is link and cross pyramid. Appendix 2 suggested new measures for operational performance. Then you've got Appendix 3, which is suggested new measures for improving quality of delivery. Says this information should be used to answer the question requirement within your response options. Now, what are the response options? We are only being given word processor. That means no Excel, no spreadsheet, only word, word, and word in this question. That is what you have to do. Now, so let's try to see. There's this company information. It says Zones is an overnight parcel delivery company. Since it was founded by the current CEO, it has grown rapidly due to boom in online shopping. So what is the reason for it? It has grown rapidly due to boom in online shopping. I usually have a tendency to copy the relevant stuff either in the scratch pad or in the word processing. Why do I do it? Because so that I don't have to do typing out again and again, searching out things again and again. I just copy it, I paste it because I know that this is there. Then it now operates 1,000 delivery vehicles of various sizes. The important thing is that the delivery vehicles are various sizes. They're not of a single size, they're of various sizes. Recently, financial performance and market share have deteriorated. Zones has had no clear corporate vision and excessive focus on financial objectives and inadequate system to measure and manage the performance of underlying processes driving its performance. So that has been the problem. We have been able to identify the problem with zones, that they don't have a vision, they don't have a clear mission, they have been measuring the performance using the mainly financial aspects. They've not been focusing on the non-financial aspects. Now what next is there? The business model. What is it there in the business model? Let's try to understand. It says zones, collection and delivery service uses delivery vehicles to transport parcels to and from local depots and individual addresses. What happens is that you transport parcels to and from local depots and individual addresses. I repeat, what you do is that you transport parcels to and from the local depots and individual addresses. So that means you're picking out from depots, you're picking out from individual customers, you're delivering to depots, you're delivering to customers. It says vehicles may also pick up parcels from the addresses to which they deliver. So right simultaneously, you deliver, you pick up, you deliver, you pick up. That also done. It says each time the vehicle calls to pick up or deliver parcel is known as a stop. And the time of the day for each stop is booked in advance. Okay. So it's not like that you're just going and you'll go there. No, it's booked in advance. It says at the end of each day, vehicles along with any parcels not delivered return to the depot. So that's an important thing. The vehicles are being parked at the depot and any parcels which they have failed to deliver, they return that parcel to the depot. So that means what I could see is that even the customer parcels which are not delivered would be delivered to the depot. Regardless of who pays for the service, zones regards anyone to whom it delivers or to whom it pick up parcel as a customer. Okay, so I mean, this is a good thing to do. Why? Because you're treating everyone as your customer. But again, I mean, like, because you see, those people from whom you're picking up the parcel, they are the customers. Those whom we are delivering, they're not the customers now, but they are the future customers, they're potential customers. Now, what happens is that in the long term, requirement of both these groups for a competitively priced, reliable, and flexible service for will be similar. So although there is no clear vision, but they know that what it actually means, what who can be your customer, the existing customers, the 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 people whom you are delivering, they could be your potential customers. Third one, performance improvement plan. Now, what is this performance improvement plan? Try to understand. It says the chief executive believes that reductions in customer satisfaction and flexibility caused by a decline. Okay, just wait a bit. I pressed some button wrongly. Okay, while you are practicing at home, just in case if you press a button in error, that information is not lost. There's an auto save option, so it actually saves your information automatically. Okay, it says the CEO believes that reductions in customer satisfaction and flexibility caused by a decline in operational performance may have led to recent deterioration in financial performance and market share. So that means that the financial performance and the market share have deteriorated. It's been suggested that zones use the link and cross performance pyramid in Appendix 1 to reverse this deterioration, and three new performance measures for operational performance have been suggested. Appendix 2 is for the DMIC. Now, Appendix 3 may help you. Okay, I will be talking about the performance pyramid for the time being only. I will not be talking about the DMIC right now because my just focus right now is performance pyramid. I want you people to know that how performance pyramid is applicable in this scenario. I'm not going on to the other aspect. So I'll open up the Appendix 1, which actually covers up the suggestions pertaining to performance pyramid. It says the link and cross performance pyramid. So they've given you the performance pyramid just in case if you forget it in the exam. They've given you the performance pyramid. Let's talk about the Appendix 2, which is actually giving you the suggested performance measure. It says vehicle utilization. The average utilization of all vehicle capacity. This is measured by taking the average of vehicle load as a percentage of capacity when the vehicle leaves the depot at the beginning of each day, and the vehicle load as a percentage of capacity when the vehicle returns to the depot at the end of each day. Capacity is measured either according to internal volume or the length of the vehicle, depending on the type of vehicle being used. Okay, so what are they up to? They're actually measuring the vehicle utilization of, which is the average utilization of vehicle capacity. This is measured by taking the average of vehicle load as a percentage of capacity at the beginning and at the end of the day. Fuel consumption, average liters of fuel per kilometer traveled for all vehicles. One time on time stops, percentage of stops within 30 minutes of the book time. So on time means that within 30 minutes of the book time, so they say to the customers that we will be there at your location within 30 minutes. Zones receive customer complaints from customer relating to deliveries made on time. Of these, less than 0.0001 relate to deliveries made within 30 minutes of the book time. That means, what does it mean? If the deliveries are not made on time, they receive complaint. Of the complaint, less than 0.001 relate to deliveries made within 30 minutes of the book time. What does it mean? It means that the biggest destruction for the customer is late delivery, is that when you don't reach them within 30 minutes. When you don't book within 30, when you don't reach within 30 minutes. So that means this 30-minute is a very critical time. Now, what else is there? There are these requirements to the question. What are these requirements? It says advise the chief executive officer on how the link and cross performance pyramid can help achieve its corporate vision. That's one thing. So when it comes to part A, what you will be doing with respect to part A is that you'll be telling the examiner that how the performance pyramid helps you achieve the corporate vision, how it directs you towards the vision. Second, using performance pyramid, evaluate the extent to which the suggested new measures in Appendix 2 can be used to measure and manage operational performance at zones. Now, the requirement C I'm ignoring right now because I'm saying that that pertains to Six Sigma. I'm not going to be covering it right now. For A and B, we are going to discuss them. I'm giving you 5 minutes to give yourself a try to attempt it, and let's just see what you can achieve. Okay, Upasna, the recent examiner pattern is that they always give the pyramid in the exam, but still it's not a difficult model to remember. You can remember it quite easily. Yeah, I'm giving you 5 minutes to plan out the answer. Then I'm going to start discussing. Yeah, 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes, and then we start. Yeah, last 1 minute left. Okay, now let's just start off. So what I would do is that if I have to write down the answer, I have picked up the questions requirement. I've picked up the questions requirement. I would just paste the question requirement onto this word processing document so that I'm able to, I repeat, so that I'm able to tell the examiner that, look, this is the requirement that I've actually answered. So I repeat, so that I can tell the examiner that, look, this is the requirement that I have actually answered. Now, how exactly is this requirement going to be? It says advise the CEO how the link and cross performance pyramid can help zones achieve its corporate vision. Now let's talk and let's discuss about it. Basically what happens is, what you get to tell, I am just going to give you some pointers that what we need to tell the examiner. We need to tell him that the introduction of performance pyramid, the introduction of performance pyramid ensures that performance measures are introduced at different levels within an organization. So I repeat, this is a key point that you need to tell them, that introduction of performance measures at different levels within an organization, including what? Including. So that would include what? The operational level, the tactical level, and the strategic level. The performance pyramid connects all different levels and suggests that the vision of the organization would be achieved by the fulfillment of the, and suggests that the vision of the organization would be achieved by the fulfillment of the, fulfillment of the objectives at the different levels of the organization. At the operational level, performance pyramid suggests that entity should improve its quality, deliver goods on time, reduce the cycle time of the processes it undertakes, and eliminate the waste. It further suggest that it further suggests that the improvement of quality and deliveries enhances customer satisfaction, and which in turn helps organization achieve its strategic objective of market related goals of enhancing its share, etc., etc. Now further, the pyramid guides that reduction in cycle time and waste enhances productivity, which in turn enhances enhances the productivity, which in turn enhances the financial performance, leading to satisfaction of shareholders. So by the introduction of performance pyramid, the entity, I repeat, by the introduction of performance pyramid, the entity achieves goals at different levels. The entity achieves goals at different levels, which entity achieves goals at different levels, which helps them achieve higher level objectives, and finally helps it achieve the vision. So if I got to write down the answer to the question, this is the approach that I'll adopt. This is the approach that I'll adopt because my examiner asked me that what do you think? How can the performance pyramid help this organization achieve its vision? This is how the performance pyramid would help the organization achieve its vision. This is how performance pyramid would help organization achieve its vision. Okay, now the point is that should we be writing it down in general or should we be connecting it to the scenario? Okay, you connect it to the scenario to whatever extent it is possible for you. So like for example, what you can do is that at zones the operational level performance at the operational level performance pyramid suggests that zones should improve its quality, deliver goods on time, reduce the cycle time of the processes, which is usually the delivery processes or any other process it undertakes, and eliminate the waste through utilization of idle resources. So basically, when we talk about the performance pyramid, this is what you can do. You can connect it to zones wherever possible. But in general, this is what you have to talk about, that how a performance pyramid would help an organization achieve its vision. So you need to say that it's connectivity from the bottom to the top that actually helps you achieve. Let's move on to the next requirement of the question. And the next requirement of the question is, using the performance pyramid, evaluate the extent to which the suggested new measures in Appendix 2 can be used to measure and manage operational performance of zone. So what you're gonna do is that this is B. Now, with respect to this Appendix 2, what have we got? We have got different types of measures. One of them is vehicle utilization. The other one of them is basically the fuel consumption. And the third one of them is on-time stops. At times one thinks that I'm better off writing down rather than copying. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to help you plan the bullet pointers for this specific part of the question so that you have a better understanding. I repeat, I'll help you plan the bullet pointers for this specific part of the question. Now let's just see. So what you got to do is that you got to tell the examiner that, look, the operational level, I'm writing down the bullets. The operational level measures have to be quality, delivery, cycle time, and waste. No specific definition for quality, and in general, it means customer satisfaction. So in the case of zones, the on time stops could be considered as a measure of quality. The vehicle utilization could be considered as a measure for waste. The on-time stops could be considered as a measure for delivery also. The fuel consumption could be considered as wastage. Now, you would say with respect to the performance measures discussed, the following are the an evaluation is made about the extent of benefit these
Yeah, can you hear me now? Okay, just give me a second, please. Okay, just give me a minute, please. I'm just fixing my microphone. I'm just adding another microphone.
Okay, now, my apologies. Sorry, you had to face a bit of a inconvenience about it. Anyways, so I think still you people are able to actually understand that how exactly do we need to answer the question, right? I hope that you people are able to understand how exactly do you need to answer the question. So basically, what next is there? The next situation is when you are going to be talking about this vehicle utilization. We have actually covered up these things that vehicles are main assets. Their maximum utilization would mean maximum deliveries. And additionally, we have also discussed this thing. We've also discussed this thing that capacity of each vehicle would differ. The greater the load being carried by these vehicles, it will mean greater utilization. And this will have impact on reducing the waste, which is the idle capacity. And since the measure, is based upon the load, which is usually an indication, usually an indication of the capacity. Therefore, this will help organization. This will help organization improve its productivity. So that is basically one of the aspects when we talk about the concept of the vehicle utilization. What exactly do you mean by this? We have actually gone through it. Now let's move on to the next aspect. It talks about the fuel consumption. It says average liters of fuel per kilometer traveled for all vehicles. Now, the lower fuel consumption would make deliveries cheaper. Will help reduce the price charged. This will satisfy customers and will also help organization enhance its productivity. So what else do we need to do? But measuring the cost as per kilometer may not be correct reflection, may not be the correct reflection of the performance. I repeat, when you're measuring the cost as per kilometer, it may not be the correct reflection of the performance. Why is that so that it may not be the correct reflection of the performance? It is because, I repeat, it is because ultimately what actually happens is that the organization they are delivering through different vehicles. Each vehicle has got a different consumption. Each vehicle has a different consumption. Each vehicle distributing in a different area, because you see all the depots would not be in the same areas. The type of roads will also impact on consumption. The distance between stops will also impact consumption. So resultingly, what you could do is that you could say that this measure is good to have, but it needs to be adapted, it needs to be improved, it needs to be amended to reflect the differing circumstances, maybe by measuring cost of fuel per parcel delivered or per kg kilometer handled. There could be an improvement. You could suggest improvements. I repeat, you can suggest improvements. Now, the last one of them is on time stops. So when we talk about this on time stops, what exactly are we going to do with respect to this on time stops are what? Because you see, the customers who have complained are the ones who are actually not satisfied with your timing of delivery. So this is a key factor. Customers are satisfied majorly on this factor. It's a good to have. Will ensure that management focuses upon it. So I have actually identified these important things and I've been able to draft the answer to the question. Do you people get it? Even you can do it at your places, that once you write down the answer, you could just export it to the PDF. You could just export it to the PDF. So basically, this is how you will be discussing. This is how you will be commenting. Is everyone okay with this? Yeah, I will send the answer question, don't worry. Short paragraphs in the exam, Rebecca. If I mention the short paragraphs over here, you will miss out on the key points. You don't have to write the you don't have to write the bullet points. I am writing down bullet points just for the sake of you people, that you are able to understand clearly, because if I write down them in terms of a short para, you won't be able to pick up the points. Okay. So is everyone okay with this? Are you able to understand how I have answered the questions requirement? Well, it's not necessary one paragraph, Aaron. You can put it in two paragraphs, like short paragraphs discussing the key point, making sure that you are able to explain your viewpoint to the examiner. Okay, so good enough. What I'll do is that I am going to end here, and I would really appreciate feedbacks from you people for today's session. That how did you find the session? I would really appreciate feedbacks from you people, because your feedbacks are the key. Yes, Mohammed Qayyum, don't worry. Okay, okay. Well, okay, there is a question. Somebody is asking that do we need to split the headings between measuring and managing? Well, no, you don't have to. No, you don't have to. Don't try, I mean, try not to segregate to whatever extent that you can. Try not to segregate. Okay, I hope that you all have joined the relevant WhatsApp group. Thank you, all of you, for your feedbacks. I would really appreciate that, because my approach is going to be, I'll be going through one of the examination questions tomorrow. That is going to be a question number 1. And again, it would be on the CBE format. Again, it would be on the CBE format. That's what I would be doing, inshallah, tomorrow. Um, Thank you, Mr. Olumide Sofiliu. Basically, this is how you should always plan your answers. Even when you're answering in the exam, it's always good to know that how exactly what exactly are the pointers that we have to share. Well, what you could do is that you could talk about the connecting paragraphs. If you write a short paragraph for each point, if you can manage it. And a very important point is, every one of you should try to. Thank you, Mr. Mofo. Every one of you should try to ensure that no Sajid Hamid webinar is on. I am repeating. Everyone, I mean, like, if we're about to end. So everyone should try to make sure that you practice maximum on the CBE platform, so that you don't get last minute surprises. Okay, good enough. So thank you very much, all of you. Take care. Allah Hafiz. We meet up tomorrow, inshallah. We meet up tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you all for your appreciations and feedbacks. Highly appreciated. Thank you.